Retro.
Are you an aspiring Jedi, or do you dabble with the dark side of the Force?
Regardless of whether you fancy yourself a defender of the light or an aspiring Sith Lord, you're going to need a lightsaber.
Podcast Stardust is pleased to partner with Saber Masters, the creators of high-quality, durable, and affordable lightsabers.
Saber Masters is preparing to launch the Ultimate Lightsaber 2.0, and right now you can get 2 for the price of 1.
So, check out the link in our show notes and go get your Ultimate Lightsabers from Saber Masters.
And don't forget to use our referral code STARDUST to save $10 at checkout.
And each purchase using our referral code helps support Podcast Stardust.
This is Heather Antost, Gonk enthusiast, and you're listening to Dennis and Jay on Podcast Stardust. If they talk about anything else than Dr. Aphra, they're doing it wrong.
Hello there, Star Wars fans. I'm Jay Krebs.
And I'm Dennis Keithley.
And this is another fully armed and operational edition of Podcast Stardust, the galaxy's source for Star Wars news, reviews, and discussion. So before we get started on this episode, Dennis, where can our listeners find us on social media?
We are on Facebook and Instagram at Podcast Stardust. And if you catch us when the mood is right, you can also find us on X at the same place.
Nice. So today on Podcast Stardust, episode 774, we are bringing you our special monthly feature called World Between Worlds, a mystical dimension that connects Star Wars fashion and lifestyle products to your space and time. The goal is to bring you a wide variety of ideas for products to surround you, outfit you, and bind your style sense together, kind of like the Force. So August is here, almost gone already. It's crazy. We've got fall right around the corner. But before we get started on our episode, we'd always like to go through anything that Dennis or I have acquired, any kind of rundown of any new Star Wars gets. So Dennis, did you get anything new this last month?
No, been a bit quiet on that regard. The one fun thing I did is I had a Star Wars Lego set for the Invisible Hand that I put together, and I had a good time taking the front of that off and saying, not to worry, we're flying half a ship. But as far as fashion and lifestyle products, no, don't have anything to talk about right now.
Legos are a lifestyle, though,
Mhm.
you know, and that was you sent me those pictures. That was so cool. And ironically, we were just talking about the Invisible Hand in our Clone Wars episode that we just recorded recently. So that's
We were.
pretty darn cool. Yeah. Yeah. So it's kind of ironic because July was my birthday month and I didn't get anything Star Wars for my birthday, except for this month. I got a couple of late birthday presents and then I got some other surprises as well. So, I mean, I guess technically I got birthday presents. So, but there's a few things that I wanted to go through here with our listeners. And one of the first ones that I got was a back to school present from one of my fellow Star Wars teacher friends. And I'm very fortunate to have quite a few of them on staff. And so this gal had gone to a festival, an art show, and she found a person that was selling a lot of different types of jewelry. And so, unfortunately, the person that makes this jewelry does not have any kind of an Instagram or social media because I asked the gal that gave it to me, for contact information. And I tried to look her up online and she doesn't have anything, but it's definitely worth mentioning because these are just super cool. And the moral of the story is that you can possibly find some real gems, literally and figuratively, out there in your local community from a lot of talented folks if you happen to, just get out and about, because there are definitely a lot of Star Wars fans out there. So what I received was from a local Ohio jewelry artist named Olivia Blueball, and she has a company called O's Original Jewelry. And so these are a pair of drop fishhook earrings with the Rebel symbol on them. So they're in black, white, and silver. And the Rebel symbol is round, and it's got, the best way I can explain it is it's got kind of a like a clear acrylic bubble over the top of it. And you see these a lot on charms and things like that. And then the drop that goes from there, it is black. It kind of reminds me of like uh, an onyx type crystal that is dangling from that. And these are just the cutest things ever. So O's original jewelry, and again, it's local to the Northeast Ohio area, but she does have a contact on all of her bags, and it's a phone number. But I won't give that out just because I don't know how worldwide she wants that to be.
Good,
But they're
good call.
really cool. Yeah, they're just antique Victorian style kind of stuff. But the gal that gave it to me said that she also had necklaces and pendants, and there was a Yoda pendant, for example, and she just had really cool stuff. So it was geek chic antique is the best way that I can describe it, which is really awesome. And the brown bags that she puts everything in are hand embossed. So they're just brown paper lunch bags, but she has some kind of an embossing tool, and she puts this nice little Victorian textured design all over it, and then hand stamps everything, which is really cool. So once again, I mentioned that because not only are the earrings a lot of fun, but once again, all of those local places can really be a fantastic way to find some really talented people and get some really cool things as well. And I'm sure you guys have had stuff like that, around you, whether it be farmers markets or little bazaars or, little shows, trade shows or anything like that. Have you found anything like that locally that you can think of off the top of your head?
Oh, I've seen stuff like that, yes, but don't ask me for a specific example, just because I've not personally been in the market for such things.
No, that's fair. That's
Mm.
fair. So I actually did reach out to Olivia. So, and I asked her if she is, at some point going to have any kind of social media. So I haven't heard back from her yet. So that might be an update for next month if she does happen to get an Instagram or a Facebook or something like that. And she is willing to ship, some of her things out to other areas that love to help her out because she's a very talented artist for sure. And then the next thing that I got was, once again, this was a late birthday present from one of my oldest and dearest friends. And I've talked about this gal before, I think, on the show. We actually met when the two of us were going through kindergarten signups. And it was our own kindergarten signups. So we're talking like long, 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 long time ago. And of course, we've since grown up and we've gone our separate ways, but we get together every once in a while for some lunches. We live about an hour and a half from each other. And so we don't get to see each other, all that often. But she was the gal that I drug with me to all of the Return of the Jedi screenings the year that came out in 1983. So it was one of those things where it was like, oh, Jay, you want to go see a movie? Yes, we're going to see Return of the Jedi. And poor Diane didn't have much of a choice, but she always went along with it. So she has always been super sweet. So what she got me for my birthday, and it arrived in the mail, completely surprised me about a week or so ago. And she sent me the Ahsoka 16-inch plushie. And so this one's available on the Disney store, and I'm sure that it's available in the parks and, perhaps in a variety of other places as well. But this one is from the Ahsoka series. So the description on the website says, Hero Rebel Snuggler. This super soft Ahsoka Tano plush doll inspires cuddles from here to Coruscant and back again. From her montrals, leku, and signature markings, this cuddly doll features embroidered details and glittering accents that are sure to inspire your little Jedi to dream of adventures across the galaxy. Well, I'm a big Jedi, but I still love her all the same. So, so again, this is inspired by the Ahsoka series, but it does have that soft plush construction, and all of her features are embroidered. And of course, it's a very cutesy little style. And so, but it's 16 inches. It's a nice sized doll. And so I have this one sitting on my shelf up in my cosplay room, actually. And so, of course, Diane knows that I cosplay Ahsoka, so she was all over the Ahsoka stuff. And then the other thing that she sent me is the Ahsoka Galactic Action Black Series figure from Hasbro. And this one's a lot of fun. I haven't taken this one out of the box. I don't think I ever will. I had to get it down from my shelf in my class playroom for our recording so that I could show everyone how she sounds when you activate the amazing features on this. So this Star Wars toy is once again inspired by the live action series Ahsoka. And as we know, it follows our former Jedi Knight Ahsoka Tano as she investigates the emerging threat to a vulnerable galaxy. So there are lights, sounds, and phrase combinations, and all you have to do is press the 2 buttons on Ahsoka's belt to activate. Her lightsabers that are attached to her hands also glow white, and you can hear these sound effects and listen to Ahsoka say different phrases. So let's see if we can get this to work here. So there's her lightsabers.
I sense much fear in you.
You hear that one?
Yeah.
I sense much fear in you.
Sometimes the student guides the master.
Sometimes the student guides the master.
The Force is an energy field created by all living things. To wield it takes a great deal of training.
Isn't that cool?
Sounds just like Rosario.
Right? I know. And then there's other phrases as well. Surrender or face the
I sense
consequences.
much fear in you.
There it is. I sense much fear in you. She will eventually turn off. So we're going to put her aside. And she may keep talking to us, but may the Force be with you as well, Ahsoka. Okay. Good night. So there she goes. That was fun. And then the other thing I got, I know you had talked about this. Gosh, it was probably a couple months ago when they first came out, but I finally got some Star Wars Oreos.
Yay.
Yay for me. So I was just out shopping at this little local nerd store called Sweets and Geeks. And I don't think that this is a nationwide kind of a chain sort of a thing. I've never seen it anywhere else but here in Northeast Ohio. But they had a bunch of these little smaller packages. So they were more of a longer sleeve, and they had 4 cookies inside of it. But of course, when you open it up, you either got the light side or you got the dark side. So I actually bought 3 packages, and I gave 2 of them away to some of my Star Wars teacher friends and 1 student. And I got dark side. So mine had Grievous, Kylo Ren, a Scout Trooper, and a Stormtrooper. And then I did find a box of these little 2-pack minis at Walmart that you can throw into lunches and such. So I bought one of those as well because I thought, oh, I can give those out for prizes, like for games and stuff at school, or if I want to snack myself.
There you go.
But I'm with you. These are the freshest Oreos ever. They had like this really interesting, almost crystalline taste to
Yeah.
the filling.
Mhm.
Is that what you were meaning by fresh as well?
Yes, they're fresh, and I also the dark side ones especially. It feels like I don't know if it's some sugar crystals or what they have in the filling, but you can kind of taste that texture to the filling in there. I don't notice as much as the light side Oreos as I do the dark side ones for some reason.
Ah, okay. So I guess I need to keep opening packages until I get a light side so I can compare the two,
Right.
for research purposes for the show, of course.
We have been through so many bags of these Star Wars Oreos in this house, and yeah, and I will continue to get them if I see them in stores. They don't have them at the local grocery store that I go to, but I think Beth has been finding them at Target an awful lot.
Oh, there you go. There you
Yeah.
go. I think they're going to be around for a while. At
They've
least I
certainly been
hope so.
popular. So
Yeah, yeah, it's so true. So
Mhm.
I'll keep you updated. We'll have to text each other and let each other know where we find these things. That's fantastic. All right. So for me, that is pretty much the wrap up, just a few fun things. And so we'll jump back into things with an update on the Her Universe fashion show results from San Diego Comic-Con. So last month I had reported that it was actually, I think the day that we were recording was the day of the fashion show. So I wasn't able to give any results or anything like that at that point in time. But it was once again hosted by Ashley Eckstein, the voice of Ahsoka Tano in the Clone Wars and founder of her universe, and her co-host Michael James Scott, who has also helped her co-host in the past. And it was on, as I said, July 25th of 2024 at San Diego Comic-Con. And this was the 10th year for the event. And it kind of hit me. I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize it was going on for 10 years already. And so every year it has really evolved, and most years it's taken on a particular theme. And so all of the designers had to create some sort of a design around that particular theme. But this year they went a little bit more broad from that, or I should say a lot more broad actually, because it was sponsored by Mattel and it was intended to celebrate every fandom. So the submissions this year were based on any kind of fandom out there, and it was sky's the limit. But the focus of the show itself was on a few different things: the 65th anniversary of Barbie, the anniversary of Polly Pocket, and there were some other things as well, some board games that were being celebrated, and so on and so forth throughout the night. So, as is usual, Ashley made a number of changes in wardrobe throughout the night. And one of those is that Ashley got to be quote unquote boxed up as several different versions of Barbie. And so she wore different outfits that are some of the iconic Barbie looks throughout the night. And then at one point, she even wore a dress that was made entirely out of Uno cards, which was amazing. I just was like, oh my gosh, this is so great. And then Michael James Scott also had a suit made out of Uno cards as well. And then the original dress that she came out in was a Polly Pocket dress. And the Polly Pocket dress was absolutely fantastic. And there were several, practice runs that were taken with this, and pre-done photography for the promotions and things before she came out on stage. And unfortunately, during the fashion show, the moment that Ashley stepped out onto the runway, the whole thing fell apart. And so she was very graceful about the whole thing. And I did put a picture in there of her, kind of reaction to, oh my gosh, the front of my dress just completely fell off. And she did take to her Instagram on the Monday following the fashion show and talked a little bit about the mishap. And Ashley does do this mental health Monday post series every week. And so she addresses different things. And so she was very open about how disappointed she was and how scared she was that this had happened, in front of everybody. But she really handled it with a lot of grace and poise. And if you head to Ashley's Instagram, you can, check out the full story and that type of thing. But all in all, it was absolutely incredible to see Ashley in all of the different types of outfits and whatnot. And I have to say, this, of course, isn't Star Wars, but she wore these sequined Barbie high heels that were pink with the silhouette of Barbie with her pigtail on the back by the heel. And oh my gosh, would I love to own these shoes. Just saying. So yeah, I think it'd be really fun to have a pair of orange sequined high heels with Ahsoka's face on the heel. You know what I mean? Or her fulcrum markings. I think that would be so
You
cool.
got a project.
There we go. I'm going to have to make that happen. So just a rundown of the contestants and the winners. So there were actually 25 contestants, and 2 of which had a Star Wars themed fashion entry. So I'm going to talk about those a little bit, and then I'll clue you into who the winners were for the fashion show itself. So again, of the 25 entrants, there were 2 that were Star Wars-esque, and one was called Hote on Hoth. So I thought that was really clever because Haute, kind of like hot on Hoth, Haute on Hoth, but Haute Couture, of course. So this one was inspired by Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back. And so this was by Heather Smith, and she goes by @Geekanista5 on Instagram. And I've actually been following Heather for a really long time, and I'll get into that in just a minute. But her outfit was inspired by the Wampa. And so she had a lot of fur going on. And so it was a really cool design. And so I'm just going to read her bio really quickly. It says, Heather is a self-taught seamstress and designer who learned from YouTube videos, experience, and failures. Don't we all? She has officially been sewing and designing for 7 years and has grown exponentially thanks to practice, commissions, and competitions. Heather loves to experiment with unique techniques and materials to push her designs and give them something new and fashion forward. And I just think that that's a really cool message that, anybody who has a passion for something, and, don't ever underestimate the power of a YouTube video to learn how to
Mhm.
do things. Let me just tell you. So Heather, actually, her Instagram, will make sure that that is in our show notes. And Dennis does a great job of making sure that all of these links get in there. But she also has an online store, and it's called Big Cartel. And so she mainly has a lot of pins and stickers and that type of thing. And she's got tons of Marvel stuff. So if you're looking for anything Bucky, she's got you covered. But one thing that I think is very unique and you don't see a whole lot of is that if you're looking for Mara Jade and Luke merch, this is the place to go. So she's got a ton of different things on her website that are Mara Jade and Luke inspired. So she's got some pins, mostly pins and stickers, but a wide variety of different kinds of things. And I think the one that is probably, for me anyways, the most creative is there's a crossover mashup between The Witcher and Star Wars called Toss a Coin to Your Jedi, which
Mm.
features Luke as Geralt and Mara Jade as Yennefer, which I love because I love The Witcher and I love, of course, Mara Jade and Luke. So again, if you're looking for something pretty unique, you'll want to head over to Big Cartel. But did you get a chance to look at any of the Luke and Mara Jade stuff or any of the other Star Wars adjacent things on her site,
Oh
Geekanista?
yeah. Yeah, I just started scrolling through all that. She's definitely got a fandom here.
Mm-hmm.
These are pretty cool. They're good looking pins. Um, yeah, some very creative things with Bucky for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, for
The
sure.
wolfish pin there, kind of half mermaid or merman and half Bucky Barnes.
Mhm.
So lots of unique items there.
Yeah, for sure. And of course, pins are one of those things that when people go to cons, they like to trade, and
Hmm.
that just really is a lot of fun. There are a couple of Ahsoka things in here as well. And there's one called No Good Deed, and it's a pin that has Barris and Ahsoka on it. And so it's a 3-inch hard enamel pin with screen print details, and it actually comes in 2 variants. So there's a yellow background or a black glitter background as well. So it's actually Ahsoka turned to the side, whispering in Barris's ear. And so take that as you will. So it's called No Good Deed, which is very creative, I thought.
Hmm.
And then the other dress that was Star Wars inspired was called Padawan's Path. And this was from Star Wars Rebels by Leah Gifford. And she goes by the Moral Time Lady at the Moral Time Lady on Instagram. And this one caught my eye, of course, because it was a World Between Worlds inspired design. Yee! So I went to her Instagram, and Leah has the reel from her background video about how she was inspired to do this design, as well as some of the steps of making the dress itself. And absolutely fantastic. So this is a black dress, and it has tons and tons of sequins on it that are inspired by the World Between Worlds markings and, constellations, if you will, and that kind of thing. But every single one of the sequins was hand placed. That had to take so long to do. I can't even imagine how many hours Leah has into this particular dress, but my description is not going to do this dress justice. It has an underneath layer to it that she has almost like wings on straight sticks that she can pull up over her head when she puts her arms straight up over her head. and it creates the entire World Between Worlds portal. So on one side, you see the black dress with all of like the little constellations and stuff like that. And then when she puts her arms up in the air, the underside of it is this like silvery grayish white satin that she has embroidered the wolves around the edges like the portal. And it is just absolutely fantastic, which I thought was just so incredible in terms of her design and everything. So she is a returning contestant to the Her Universe fashion show, and she was actually featured in Star Wars Insider number 218. She had an Obi-Wan Kenobi and Bad Batch Echo dress design that she had done for herself, and so she was featured in Star Wars Insider. And Leah actually strives to bring disability awareness to the forefront through her geek couture fashion pieces. And she incorporates a version of a cane that she uses for herself in every single one of her designs. So her A World Between Worlds design that she did for this year's Her Universe fashion show actually utilized Ahsoka's white lightsaber as her cane. So I just really thought that that was very innovative, and she just did a fantastic job. So Leah's been sewing clothes since 2020. She's had her work again featured in the official Star Wars magazine Insider. And then she did have a 9-piece Marvel collection featured in the Reno Fashion Show and won the Daily Wear Judges' Choice Award at the Geekbound Fashion Show at FanX for her dress inspired by Blackbeard from Our Flag Means Death. So I just think she's really awesome and inspiring. And I went through, and honestly, Dennis, I followed every single one of these 25 people if I hadn't already been following them. So I'm like, all right, I'm following them, following them, following them. And not all of them are Star Wars, but that's okay because I'm into all kinds of things geekery, and I know you are too. So it was just really cool to see all the things that people had done. So the two that actually ended up winning, the audience winner was called Warrior Princess of Dune, and this is by Candace Miller, or she goes by Candace Dunlap Miller on Instagram. And Candace actually was in the Her Universe fashion show a few years ago. And I started following Candace back then because she was a crocheter. And so she was crocheting all of these Star Wars pieces, and she was known for her yarn soka designs.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah. So in the Her Universe fashion show, she actually did a version of herself as Morai, and it is absolutely gorgeous. So she transformed herself into Morai, the owl from the convoy from Rebels. And so she's got this entire yarn based on that. And I can't even imagine how heavy that dress happened to be. But she's also done some hats and headpieces and some cowls and just all kinds of things. So she's actually a really fun follow, I have to say. And then the one that won the judges winner was called Made for This, and it was to celebrate 65 years of Barbie. And this was by Wes Jenkins and the art of Wes Jenkins. And he actually had someone that was modeling this instead of, for himself. So, but it was a really cool Barbie interpretation. And oh, I should really mention that you probably figured it out. Warrior Princess of Dune was based on Dune 2. So,
Yes.
yeah. So once again, if you head over to heruniverse.com, you can check all of those out. And then I also found a couple of articles that featured some of the pictures from the fashion show as well. And so those will be linked in our show notes as well. And I did try to find the video for the entire show on YouTube. Currently, as of this recording, there is not one that I could find in its entirety. I found some little bits and pieces here and there. But I know a lot of the people that I follow on Instagram that were there were posting lots and lots of reels as well. So if you hit up my J.Snips cosplay and you check around on some of the people that I follow, chances are you'll probably find some of the reels from there. So did you get a chance to look at any of the other designs, and were there any that stuck out to you from the 25 contestants?
No, I didn't get a chance to check those out, but I'm impressed with these that you shared here in our notes.
Yeah, there's some really good ones. There was a couple of them that I thought, oh my gosh, like how did this person even create this? And how do they get it to stay on their body that way? There was one
Yeah.
she did a Viewmaster. Do you remember the old Viewmaster viewers?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, hers was based on that, and it was really cool. So once again, yeah, you got to check those out to see what I'm talking about, because a picture is worth 1,000 words, and my words don't really give it that much of a grand design. So you have to check those out. All right, so on to some other products. I found a really fun website on Etsy through Instagram, but the storefront on Etsy is the easiest place and best place to find all of the products. And the name of the shop is called Your Weird Aunt. And I love that because I am someone's weird aunt as well. But this is a shop by Kristen Anderson. And she has tons of really whimsical type Star Wars sorts of things. And she also has some other things like some Marvel things and, some other fandoms as well. But her main fandom is definitely Star Wars. So if you're looking for, a lot of, like I said, really whimsical kinds of things, she's got scrunchies, chapstick holders, keychains, these other kinds of keychains that are called Swifty shakers. And basically what it is it looks almost like a old-fashioned iPad or iPod. And the window of the iPod has these little pieces of acrylic with pictures on them. And so they're supposed to be album covers, basically,
Mm.
if you're a Swiftie. And so all of the different shakers, there's different ones like Rebel Girl. So that one has all pictures of Jin in it that you can shake up in the window. And so it's kind of fun because it's a fun little interactive kind of a keychain. So for those of you that don't know what a Swiftie shaker is, I didn't know what it was until I found this website. So don't feel bad if you didn't know. But they look like they're a lot of fun. And then she's got some hotel keychains. So the old fashioned kind of diamond shape hotel key style. And she's got those in wood and also in acrylic. Tons of lanyards, stickers. She's got some hair claws, which I might need to get a few of those. I'm just saying. Lego earrings. So actual Lego figures converted into earrings. And then she's got t-shirts, crew neck sweatshirts, bandanas, tote bags, beanies, bucket hats. There's a bucket hat that says Wizard in Orabesh. I was like, oh, that is so Wizard for sure. And much, 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 much more. So, and especially for those of you that are right now mourning the cancellation of the Acolyte, there's lots of the Acolyte stuff. She's got a Jackie Jam scrunchie, a Yord Horde chapstick holder, all kinds of fun things. So there's just a lot of fun designs on this website. And I have to say, I was smiling the entire time that I was looking through a lot of things because some of them are a little bit edgy. And they're just a lot of fun. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, these could make some really great Christmas presents, I think. There's a crew neck that I really like that says Spice Runners of Kijimi. And it's just on this kind of tan crew neck sweater. And then it's just a nice, little like Java cup with the Rebel symbol on it. And it just says best in the galaxy underneath it. And it's just one of those things that, we've talked about a lot with Star Wars things, that you like things that are Star Wars, kind of obviously Star Wars, but also you have to sort of be in the know to really get the joke
Yeah.
behind it, which I think is cool. And then there's a bunch of Carabast keychains, which who wouldn't want a Carabast keychain? One side has it in like basic, if you will, English, and then the other side has it in Orabesh. And I just think that's super cool as well. So again, check that out at Your Weird Aunt Shop. And that is on Etsy. And she also has an Instagram as well. So, as I was talking, did you get a chance to scroll through and did anything catch your eye?
Well, there's obviously some people that are feeling some sort of way about the cancellation of the Acolyte because I
Mhm.
noticed the T-shirt that says directed by Leslie Headlands. 8 people have this in their cart is the notation right there. But
Yeah.
clearly she's being careful about the way she labels the products. So for
Sure.
instance, there's a set of Cadbury Lego minifigure earrings that she's called the quick draw earrings. Those are pretty cool. But yeah,
Mhm.
she's gone through and former Spice Runner earrings, and it's Poe Dameron. So yeah, there's a lot of fun things here. And yeah, to your point, there's a time and place for your favorite Star Wars t-shirt that's got Darth Vader on it, but sometimes you need something a little bit more subtle for a more professional environment or what have you. So
Mhm.
this would help you out in both cases.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you want something else that you can definitely wear in your professional environment, I would suggest heading over to Heroes and Villains brand as well. So, nice little segue there. Look at us.
Yeah.
But yeah, Heroes and Villains has been mentioned on the show quite a bit, and there's definitely a reason for that. They have oodles and oodles of different products available that are really high quality. Types of things for both guys and gals from literally head to toe. So they actually have a brand new line right now that they're calling their Winter Essentials collection. And this one includes new Star Wars sweater vests and also some new bomber jackets in a bunch of different unisex styles. So the sweater vests are kind of cracking me up, I'm not going to lie, because they're kind of retro feeling in a way.
Mhm.
They're almost like a 1960s feel sweater vest, but they bring a very modern flair to them as well. So there's 4 different sweater vests available. There's a Rebels sweater vest, which includes the colors of Ahsoka. I mean, it's pretty, obvious that they're either Ahsoka or Hera or somewhere in between, maybe even a little Sabine in there. So there's blue, there's orange, there's yellow, and then there's some tans and that type of thing. So, interpret that the way that you will. So just want to put this out there. All 4 of these sweater vests that I'm going to be talking about are available on heroesandvillains.com, and they're all right now selling for $75 a piece. So the description on these is all of them are made with a jacquard double knit rib sweater vest type style. So a double knit means that it's going to have a double layer. So it's going to not just be a single knit sweater type of thing. So it actually gives a lot more loft and bulk to it when you wear it. But it's not so bulky that it looks like it's, taking up a lot of room on you. I will say that these look very nice on, and the people that they have showing them online. So there's an embroidered icon on the front chest, and then some of the designs actually also feature an embroidered Aurebesh on the back. So between the shoulder blades, some of these. So the Rebel one definitely does feature that on the back. And then there's a couple other designs as well that do, and I'll talk about that right now. And as I'm online, currently 205 other people are viewing this product. So as you were saying just a little bit ago, this one is definitely gaining some popularity. So the knit itself is 45% acrylic, 30% nylon, and 25% polyester. There are 2 little front pockets down at the bottom, and these are officially licensed Star Wars merchandise. So all of these also have a size guide available on the website, and they do give you kind of an idea on the website, as well as, like the male model is this tall and this female model is this tall or whatever. So as you're going through, you can kind of figure out how the fit would work. So once again, there's a Rebel sweater vest, there's an Imperial sweater vest, and the Imperial has more of the black and white with some actually burgundy and some red in it. And then it's got the Imperial symbol on the front, features some TIE fighters on it. And then this one is also embroidered on the back as well. And then the next one is the Bad Batch sweater vest. And so our Clone Force 99 is featured throughout this. So you've got the Clone Force 99 symbol on the front embroidered, and then there's the embroidery on the back. And this one is more of a black, brown, tan kind of a thing. It's really kind of hard to describe exactly how these look. You have to get on the website to check them out to really get the full feel for what all of these look like. And then the last one is called the Jedi sweater vest. And this one, as you could probably guess, is in all of the typical colors of the Jedi robe. So you've got your light tans and your darker browns and some cream colors in there. And you've got the Jedi symbol on the front. This is the only one that actually does not have any embroidery on the back. So it's just completely the designs themselves, and then kind of leaves it at that. So you'll be very proud of me, Dennis. I did actually translate all of the Aurebesh. So the Rebel one says Rebel on the back, the Imperial one says Empire, and then the Clone Force 99 one at the bottom says Clone Force. So yay for Jay. She actually translated Orvesh successfully.
Good work.
Yay! So I was very, very proud of myself for that. So I think these are really cool. They're a little pricey. I mean, $75 for a sweater vest is, yeah, it's a little up there. I think I'm definitely going to be waiting for a sale on these, but they do have the shop pay option where you can pay in 4 interest-free installments of $18.75 if you want to opt for that. So I was trying to decide which one I think, if I was actually going to get one of these, which one I would get. And I'm kind of leaning actually towards the Clone Force 99 one, just because it's so unique. Because I have tons of Imperial stuff. I mean, I even have a pencil skirt with a little girl leading an AT-AT like a poodle skirt. So, I have stuff like that. And I have tons of those. And I have tons of Ahsoka stuff, which of course I can always use more. And the Jedi's cool, but I don't know. Leaning toward that Clone Force 99 one. Which one would you pick if you got one?
Well, I don't wear a sweater vest, but of these, I think you're right. The Clone Force 99 is is a bit more of a conservative of a pattern that I think would work for me if I was going to do something like that.
Yeah. The only thing that kind of throws it off for the professionality, in the workplace is the fact that there's a skull on the front.
Yeah, that does kind of kill it.
So, yeah, just a little bit. But other than that, it's really cool.
Indeed.
So there you go. And then there's an entire collection of heroes and villains as well, which does include the newer bomber jackets and as well as a lot of the other stuff that I think I just talked about like 2 episodes ago. And we do tend to revisit heroes and villains a lot. And like I was saying, there's definitely a reason for that. And that is because they have tons and tons of amazing products that you can outfit yourself from head to toe. And you also have to check out her universe as well, as I was talking about that earlier, because Ashley's got a whole new fresh set of designs on the Her Universe website as well. So the last thing that I have for us for tonight is not anything to purchase, but I just thought this was really cool. And since this is a show that covers lifestyle as well as fashion, I just was I had to share this with our listeners. So Umberly Gonzalez, who voices Kay Vess from the upcoming game Outlaws, she was so proud to show off her Outlaws themed nail art on her Instagram recently. And so if you go to her Instagram, and it's just at Umberly, you'll find her. And so she's got this entire set of nothing but outlaw themed nails, which is so cool. And so she's got her lovely trusty droid on there, Ned or ND5, and then she's got a stormtrooper. She's got a couple of beautiful galaxy nails. And then there was one design though, and Dennis, you can help me out on this. It's on the middle of the one hand. The one stormtrooper is on the one hand, but then what is that other one that's on kind of like the grayish blue background? What is that symbol supposed to be?
I'm looking, enlarging this picture so I could see.
Because I even like Google lensed it and I couldn't figure out what that was supposed to be.
Is it the top of an astromech's head? I'm not sure. Or is it supposed to be?
Could it be a Camtano? Like the top of a Camtano?
Possibly. I'm also wondering if it's supposed to be like not BB-8, but the BB droids that had the flatheads. Maybe, I'm not sure.
Okay, interesting. So I actually left a little note for her nail artist, and her nail artist is Anna Huang Nails, and it's annahuang.nails on Instagram. So we'll see if she gets back to me.
Yeah, I wonder if it's something in the game we just don't know yet.
Right. Never know. But at any rate, I just thought that was really cool. So yeah, so you go, Umberly. Awesome. All right, so that will do it for us for this edition of World Between Worlds. Thank you all for joining us for episode 774 of Podcast Stardust and this episode of World Between Worlds for August of 2024. And before we go, we just wanted to say we hope you've enjoyed this episode. And if so, make sure to subscribe to Podcast Stardust on your podcatcher of choice. And we'd also like to remind you that you can find all episodes of the podcast on retrozap.com. And RetroZap is also home to several other great podcasts covering everything from the MCU and DC, Dune, Star Trek, and a whole lot more. And as always, we greatly appreciate a 5-star rating and reviews on whatever podcatcher you use, and especially on Apple Podcasts and Spotify or YouTube Music, all of the above. Please share the show and your favorite episodes on social media as well, and that really helps us a lot. So speaking of which, Dennis, could you please remind everybody what those social media contacts are one more time?
Right. So Facebook, Instagram, and X, we are at Podcast Stardust. Jay set up a number of boards for us over on Pinterest. Our episodes are in both podcast and faux video form over on YouTube. And then we have our own room on the Rector's App Discord server, and there's a lot of other great channels over there discussing Star Wars if you're so interested. And then you can support the show by looking for our t-shirts over on TeePublic, or taking advantage of our partnership with Saber Masters, where you can get 2 lightsabers for the price of 1. And if you use our code Stardust at checkout, you'll save an additional $10. It helps us out quite a bit. Jay, what do you got going on with cosplay?
All right. Well, as usual, you can always catch me on my Instagram, which is j.snipscosplay. And like I said, I just got done following all of these amazing fashion designers and cosplayers. So if you want to as well, you can check out all the people I follow as well as my designs. So I am Ahsoka from the Clone Wars, 2 different versions of Hera, original concept Mandalorian based on Tahiri Vela, as well as the Force Sister from Kenobi. So I'd love it if you would come on over to that platform and say hi. So the last thing to mention is our upcoming programming. So join us this Friday for the news as usual. And then on Monday of next week, we will be getting back into our next episode of our rewatch of the Clone Wars. So thanks for listening, everyone. Have a great rest of your week. And until next time, may the force of Star Wars fashion and lifestyle be with you.